बोल के लब आज़ाद हैं तेरे, बोल ज़बां अब तक तेरी है। तेरा सुतवा जिस्म है तेरा, बोल के जां अब तक तेरी है। देख के आहंगर की दुकान में तुंद है शोले, सुर्ख है आहन, खुलने लगे किफलों के दहाने, फैला हर एक जंजीर का दामन। बोल ये थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है, जिस्म ज़बां की मौत से पहले। बोल कि सच जिंदा है अब तक, बोल जो कुछ कहना है कह ले।
If you ever get the chance to visit Kashmir, and I highly recommend that you do, like me, you'll probably be seduced by its greenery, its snow-capped mountains, the flawless hospitality of the locals, and the seriously addictive cuisine. But if you linger for just a little longer, if you talk to the taxi driver or the boatman for just a little while, if you dare to scratch beneath the surface, even just a little bit, you'll unfortunately find a chilling and sinister atmosphere that is in total contradiction to the ostensible beauty of the state. There is a fear in Kashmir, and that has made it extraordinarily difficult for my team and I to produce this episode over the past week. We haven't been able to film on the streets or in public places like we usually would. We haven't been able to conduct interviews like we usually would like. In fact, a lot of people said that they don't want to come on record out of fear of what would happen once this was produced. And for the brave few who did come on record, they were insistent that their faces and voices were de-identified. So if this episode has a strange or dehumanized feel to it, I dare say that's because it accurately reflects what is on the ground here. After spending a week here, I can unfortunately confirm that there is a fear in Kashmir that is neither imagined nor exaggerated. But let's start at the very beginning. So we are here at the Indira Gandhi Airport in Delhi. In a few moments, we're going to be boarding a flight to Srinagar in Kashmir. The reason why we are filming here is because the moment we get into Srinagar in Kashmir, we're going to have eyes on us and we will be facing a degree of censorship that we're not usually used to. I'm traveling to Kashmir because I believe there's a really important story that needs to be told. Kashmir has been embroiled in turmoil ever since um, partition in 1947. This year there was a recent flare-up. They were on the brink of a war, but India and Pakistan were. We stepped back from that. This war still might happen though. There's a lot of good people that have a lot of important things to say, but they can't say them because they're being stopped. People are disappearing off the street. People are being put in jail, and that's a problem. And that's why myself and Lost Media are going there. We've got the privilege of a degree of anonymity. We're small enough where we can sneak in, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. I've never been on a flight where they've asked people to shut all the windows. In fact, on takeoff and landing, they actually ask you to open them. There's announcements going on over the plane, stereo, telling us that we are landing in a military base and that filming is strictly prohibited. That's why we're filming on the phone and not the usual Sony cameras.
Once again request you to keep all window shades closed until the aircraft doors are open, except the emergency exit window. Please remember, photography and videography are strictly prohibited at this airport. Birds by flight number 6B686 to Srinagar. Please remain seated on your original seat. Directly or indirectly, they don't want any picture to be clicked of the defense areas. So that's how whenever you land any of the defense airport, whether it's a Chandigarh, Srinagar, Jammu, you're not allowed to open the window shade only till the time we are takeoff. After cruise, you can go ahead with.
So Enzo, what happened back at the airport there? You gave the Jammu Kashmir police my name? Like they asked for it?
Yeah.
Just mine, because I'm a foreigner.
Yeah.
What do you think he'll do with that? I think that's just a formality? Or?
No, it's not a formality. He said that he's passed it on to other people, to the police in their network. So it's like a matter of security. They will
he's fixed academic, entrepreneur and journalist at 1:30. So he's given us a destination 6 kilometers from our hotel. A bakery.
Wait, like it's 3 people at once?
Yeah.
Why is that? That's so unusual, man. Like, what are we gonna do?
He said he wanted to call them all at one place for safety.
Oh god, really?
So he's given us a landmark, a bakery and a lane with a mosque on the left, and he'll come out the front and meet us.
Yeah.
He said he can give directions to the driver as needed. You know, he's been pretty coy. Well, I imagine all three of these are risking something.
Yeah.
Their freedom, their career. You know, I think everyone likes to think that they would take the risks, that they would be the person, you know, to give shelter to the Anne Franks of the world, but I think the reality is that when push comes to shove and you are living in a kingdom of fear, it's usually a minority that are actually willing to take the risks. My initial impressions, there are more military and security personnel than general civilians. I mean, Kashmir is one of the most heavily militarized areas in the world, and yeah, within 20 minutes I'm really seeing that.
What's your first impression of the city?
The city is very beautiful. Like, you can tell that there's natural beauty and abundance. It's very, very green. But yeah, just this shadow hanging over the place, that's a pretty strange thing to see, particularly someone like myself that comes from a place like Australia where the ratio is heavily in favor of civilians compared you never see military. It's difficult to gauge whether this journalist's paranoia is justified. Like, every message is just shrouded in mystery. It's, I don't know, like, for example, he's just told us to be careful that the eyes aren't following us. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just ignorant, and as a foreigner I'm unaware of how serious the situation is. Maybe it's also the fact that he probably is suffering from a degree of heightened awareness, even anxiety, PTSD. He's probably seen too many friends disappear or put in jail. There are military personnel every 20 to 50 meters that are heavily armed. I mean, that's not normal, and if you were to just imagine your hometown being like that, imagine how that would make you feel on a daily basis, to walk out onto the footpath and see 5-10 personnel within the first few hundred meters. That isn't normal, and that shouldn't be discounted. All right, well, it's time to meet this guy, the mystery man.
So this is the map of entire Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is a disputed territory, which is a dispute primarily between India and Pakistan, two independent nation states. So as you can see, in 1947, when India-Pakistan became two independent sovereign nations, the case of Jammu and Kashmir remained undecided. 1/3 of the territory is controlled by Pakistan. You can see here that this area, where this is Muzaffarabad, which is the capital of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, and there are other areas in Muzaffarabad, which is Rawalakot, and then you have Mirpur, and the other side of Jammu and Kashmir, which is the Kashmir Valley, and 2/3 of the entire Jammu and Kashmir region is administered and controlled by India. The valley is primarily dominated by the Muslim population. Over 90% population is Muslims in the valley. So this dispute, how it plays out in the geopolitics right now, Pakistan lays entire claim. It lays claim to the entire Jammu and Kashmir and officially calls entire Jammu and Kashmir as its, jugular vein. While as India also lays claim to the entire region, says it is an integral part, which is Atut Ang in Hindi.
Could you please describe the fear in Kashmir and the various forms that it takes?
2019 has made us, after that, there are many scares. In fact, we are living in a scarce situation, that our demographies are getting changed. You have the delimitation, then you have the kind of fear psychosis of speaking the truth, what is happening on the ground. And there are so many things which we are not able to say, and there are so many things which is very difficult to negotiate with at the same time. It is completely fear psychosis we are living in, because once we open our mouth, so we have zipped our mouths.
When I was a child, it was very difficult for me to go to somewhere in my surroundings because that time the environment here was very terrible, fearing. Many episodes occurred during the time. जैसे कि अगर हम बात करते हैं कश्मीर की, तो जब मैं छोटी थी बचपन से हमें बोला जाता था शाम के बाद बाहर नहीं जाओ, शाम के बाद बाहर नहीं जाओ, वहाँ नहीं जाओ, आपको ले जाएंगे, आपको उठा के ले जाएंगे, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे इधर पे टेररिज्म वाज ऑन अ पीक. सो एवरीबडी वाज स्केयर्ड टू स्पीक, इवन टू प्ले. In our neighborhood, we were not supposed to go out, we were not supposed to go anywhere after the evening. If we will see right now, it has changed our whole mindset. There were many curfews which affected our study a lot. कर्फ्यू, आज वो हुआ, बाहर नहीं जाना है, आज ये हुआ, 15 days of curfew, one month of curfew. So our study suffered a lot. Army came to someone's house at Pulwama, raped 2-3 girls. What was their fault? How many girls have been raped by army? For what reason? A girl cannot be a terrorist. Okay, they say a man can be a terrorist, but a girl cannot be a terrorist. So why they were doing something? They have forced us to that level.
In your opinion, is the situation now as bad as it's ever been?
Of course, yes. I think when there is no freedom of expression, of course it is, because you don't know the stories, what is happening to the people. You have so many people jailed. You have so many people who are being health-wise not doing well in the jail.
Where is our freedom? A freedom a person wants to get in life. We go out, we see army. We go out, we see they stop us. What's your name? Check. When we come home after 8 p.m., they stop us. Putting flashlights on our car, checking is there anything, is there anybody, asking us questions. Why? We are free to go anywhere. You go America, you go another countries, they don't ask you to why are you roaming at this time of night. But here it is there is fear. India cannot afford the truth of an Indian citizen. That's very hard for them.
So we're now meeting a professor from Kashmir University to get his interview. We were told to meet our journalist contact at the university. We were there waiting for him. He pulled up and basically didn't come in. He told me to come outside to identify his car and then tail him. So now we're tailing him. I have no idea where we're going. Presumably to the professor's house or some other safe house where we can conduct this interview. But yeah, shrouded in mystery once again. Fear in Kashmir.
We have a government in Delhi. We have a regime and ideology that governs Kashmir, which is, in essence, in terms of its definition of nationalism, is alienating for Muslims. BJP does not accept Kashmir's existence as it is today. They want to redefine it. They are drawing from very dangerous ideologies of fascism, that notion of nationalism. So they are experimenting it. They are experimenting all over the country, all over India, and they are experimenting in Kashmir. This is happening in general terms. This is going to be dangerous because you can't build a country with potential of a great civilization and great power potential on negative sentiment only. So they are playing a very dangerous game. I hope things start being corrected at the larger level. But immediately, I don't think there is any hope for that.
Would you say that the BJP is the biggest impediment to India fulfilling its global potential?
I think it is becoming, because you see now they had given impression that we are emerging as global leaders. Vishwaguru. But recent events have shown that they are going in, they are almost completely isolated at global level.
Based purely on population, India is supposedly the largest democracy in the world. Do you feel like you're living in a democracy?
We have had problems of democracy even earlier when India was somewhat thriving democracy. But today, yes, I don't consider democracy. We have a chief minister who has no say, who is elected. Practically, government is run by center. Chief minister or the elected representative are completely powerless.
Okay, so we're at the end of the first day here. It's 8:30. It's been a mammoth day. I mean, I went to bed at 2:30 last night because I was finishing up arrangements with our contact here. We got up at 4. We went to the airport. We landed here and we got straight into interviews. My brain is swollen with new information, with novelty, with stories, sad, tragic stories, unfortunately. I think the kind of overarching thing that I'm going to be taking away from this first day is just how much people are suffering and how afraid they are. These people are extremely proud and they're extremely passionate about their state and their fight for recognition and for just basic rights. And most of the time we can't even show their face on camera. And that hurts them. Off camera, they apologize that they can't actually reveal their identity. They would love to, but they know that it would lead to them or one of their family members probably being pinched and put in jail or being given a hard time in some respect. I'm in the process of trying to work out almost who to believe. I mean, some people say that the Kashmiris are over-exaggerating their trauma and their oppression. It's not normal to live like this. It might appear like there's not that many military personnel. I can't actually see that many surveillance cameras. But I think that haunting thought that hangs over you every second of the day, that there could be a camera on me, that is a quality or a characteristic of a totalitarian state. It's almost the uncertainty of whether I'm being surveilled and whether I'll be in trouble. That's just as powerful as a camera being on you. Okay. So we're just on the highway heading south to some of the local villages on the outskirts. What's he saying?
He's saying there's that there, so we can't shoot that. Australia.
They take the boys to the army camps?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what, beat them?
Torture. It beats these needles into their penis and apply electric shocks, rollers on their knees, and make them hang upside down. And then usually what happens is the villagers go to the nearest elected MLA, member of Legislative Assembly, or somebody, a village head, who then has a kind of a liaison with the army, and then he promises them, okay, I'll see to it how I can get. So a lot of corruption happens there. They also get a lot of money in exchange of releasing boys.
Whenever you're taken into custody, you're tortured. Be that for the theft, be that for any menial offense, or be that for a serious crime. You're tortured. In this part of the world, there's every kind of third-degree torture. There is brutal assault. There is solitary confinement. There is everything here which should not be there. I think once you get in detail with persons who have been detained or who have faced this torture, the stories of torture are quite brutal. I have another acquaintance, he was detained, he was a client, he was detained in Delhi. So he was stripped naked and rats put in his cell. In which part of the civilized world? So after 11 years of the trial, that person was proved not guilty. So where does that man go?
Look how they are. Now close your mobile, how they are. Look how they are.
So regular checks.
They have occupied the orchards, alcoves of almonds. So you can see it's a Rajpura army camp. They have different army camps here.
Are these apple orchards?
Yeah.
There are lots of reports of army servicemen being drunk and committing assault or violence against the women.
There has been some documented, like there was a mass gang rape in two villages, twin villages of North Kashmir. One was named Kunan and another Poshpora. 3 generations of Kashmiri women were raped that night. From the age of 3-year-old to 80-year-old. To people, what, like for example, New Delhi perceives as separatism is actually the mainstream ideology in Kashmir, whether with guns or without guns. You know, what people, there have been 3 surveys which you can refer to. One is done by the Outlook magazine, which is one of the most respected Indian fortnightly magazines, and it conducted in one of its first issues a survey in which 79% of the Kashmiri population, which the respondents said they favor independence and they do not want to have any solution within the ambits of Indian constitution. Asked a question that if 100,000 killed and 8,000 custodial disappearances, mass rapes and mass graves and unmarked graves, if it is exaggeration of oppression, and why, I mean, if you are an intelligent man, tell me, if there are only, by India's accounts, less than 100 militants and who are not trained, why India needs 700,000 troops in Kashmir? Tell me why.
You know, in Kashmiri we say tuluk. Means once somebody is taken by the police or army and they translate it into English like picked up. This is not picked up. This is illegal detention. And we find somebody is picked up in the common terminology, taken to some place, tortured, and after 5-6 days, if he's released, we take it as a sense of the pride and thankfulness to the authorities that the person has been released. You are at the mercy of the will of the state. If somebody does not like your face, you can very well be detained.
Okay, so we're currently walking around some of the neighborhoods in southern Kashmir. We're about an hour or so out of Srinagar. Traditionally, this has been where a lot of militants have come from, and basically what we're exploring today is houses that have been blasted by government forces. Been in custody for 6 years.
Yeah. Another is killed.
Okay.
And the house is destroyed, and father is down with back surgery.
Okay. And can you just explain, so when you say a house has been blasted, is it that's been bombed?
Yeah, they put the material, blast material, gunpowder, and then top on it.
And do they do that because they have the suspicion that there's...
No, they did this soon after Pahalgam because they were so angry, so they started blasting houses, saying these are militant families, they must be behind that. So there was no due process, nothing.
Okay.
I mean, even if it was legally proven that somebody...
It wasn't based on intelligence, nothing. These guys might be housing militants or bombs or...
There's no process. It was just a revenge.
So our fix is trying to arrange an interview with the family that we just spoke about. The son who's been in custody for 6 years, the other son who's been killed. They've just been translating it to me. They're saying that they're not agreeing to the interview because they're out of fear for the repercussions. If their identity was to be published online, there would be a lot of consequences for them. But they said that they're happy to have us for tea.
2 sons and 3 daughters. So daughters are here, but sons are gone both. And one is male. And you will see these boys as freedom fighters. And the terminology is mujahid in the local parlance, which means the holy warrior. So, and it's a local, like every local says like that. So they made them first nations and we lost 2 days. So they says whatever is the term. So then they got a Public Safety Act slapped against them. So they are afraid, like if they speak, already 2 are now in custody. One of the brother-in-laws and 1 son, and 1 has been killed. So what is the repercussion of speaking?
Yeah, so we've just been guided through this house by the house owner, being shown the damage. So they put a landmine in this home. This is just after the Pahalgam attacks as an act of revenge. It's actually believed that the government claimed that the person responsible for the Pahalgam attacks lived here. That was a claim that was pretty quickly dismissed, but that is why they came here and put a landmine in this house. You can see the enormous damage done. This is all through the house. They've since done a lot of repairs, so it's in much better shape than it was just a few weeks ago. The explosion was so big, it shattered all the windows, it shattered the windows of neighboring houses. Yeah, this is somebody's home. And these people are totally innocent. They were not responsible for that act of terrorism, but they now live with the consequences. They would love to talk and share their story, but they can't. That's why they're off camera and I'm here relaying their story for you. So this is all damage as well. I mean, this was once a normal home, structurally sound. It's all opened up. In winter, this is going to become completely unlivable. It gets extremely cold here in the winter. And who knows what is going to happen to this family in that situation, how they're going to get through that. So we're just sitting here on the footsteps of this family home. I mean, the hospitality has been world class, despite going through so much suffering just in the last 2 months. I mean, they're warm, they're positive, and extremely amiable. I've just been told as well that the army comes regularly to visit them, and when they see that repairs have been done on the house, they interrogate them and they want to know how they got the money to do that. I mean, that if that doesn't tell you what's going on here, I don't know what will. The lack of compassion from the top. This is just an innocent Kashmiri family. They have a walnut business. They're not causing harm to anyone, and they're just caught in the crosshairs, or the crossfire, to be more precise, of a political battle, an ideological battle between two nations. Well, we'd love to stay here and speak to this family some more. We'd like to document a little more, but I'm being told by our fixers that we need to hurry and we need to leave. It's very common that people can report anything suspicious or unusual to police and they can come. So we need to move quickly through these houses and make sure we don't create any drama for the homeowners. So we've got to leave now. I feel that when people listen to this and watch this, at least some people in India are going to accuse Kashmiris or yourself of exaggerating or fabricating that suffering. Is there anything you'd want to say to preemptively address that?
No, why do we need to exaggerate the suffering? There has been no exaggeration of our suffering. There has always been a downplay of our sufferings. Just as I said, everything is fine here. If it's not fine, then why would you go in the dead of the night and pick somebody up, as you said, on the mere suspicion, and then put the same person in jail for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Is it exaggeration? Unless and until you live in the society, you see how things are going, you live through the turmoil, you should not have the liberty to be judgmental, either about the exaggeration of the sufferings or downplaying the sufferings.
इसका भाई ये है.
This is Burhan Wani.
ये भाई.
That's Burhan Wani's
ये
brother.
भाई. ये भाई.
That's Burhan Wani's brother. This is Burhan
This
Wani.
is
So we're here at Burhan Wani's cemetery, or grave. He was a 22-year-old young Kashmiri militant leader that was killed in a firefight at the state in 2016. This led to massive protests all across Kashmir, a huge period of unrest, 60-day curfews. He represented a new wave of militants, young militants. They were often social media based. They were fighting an ideological war through social media. They were recruiting through the internet, and Yeah, this grave it means a lot to the people around here. It's a symbol of hope and resistance against the state.
Police will call you. That's
So it's just too dangerous.
yeah. You have seen what the family wife told. What they told.
Do they have surveillance on the father's home?
No. Yes, obviously he is always on surveillance.
No. Okay.
And one mistake you did. You have asked the local guy. Can we visit there?
No, we didn't. He offered because he was showing the grave.
He might be the police officer of CID. But they are, that is their
But
job.
he's the bait.
Yeah, he could be the bait.
That's why we called you to check.
No, that is called a CID, criminal in a civil uniform, like a policeman in a civil uniform, civil dress.
So Kashmir is famous for its apples.
Yes, 70% of population.
Our GDP mostly has more than 70% of our GDP comes from the horticulture sector. But wrongfully in the Indian media narrative, they always mention tourism. Because to sell it as a normalcy symbol.
Yeah.
Otherwise, tourism just supports 5.6% of GDP.
Really?
This is the backbone of Kashmir economy.
So agriculture, that's saffron,
Horticulture.
apples.
Apples first, almonds, saffron, and other stuff. One is they don't hate someone who they can label as an extremist or Islamist with a gun in hand, because then you can kill that person in 1 minute and it's justified. They hate an articulate Kashmiri Muslim who speaks, who thinks independently. That's one. Number two is what they think, like the political aspiration and how well aware they are about geopolitics and what is going on. And third is their ethnicity and religious identity and political identity. These are the three problems.
We've now seen a real cross-section of society, and the one golden thread is the fear. I mean, just a farmer not willing to talk, he's just worried he'll get picked up at night. So yeah.
And actually, we are also not able to right now take you to real places where you will get the real feel, because there's a lot at stake. You will leave, the problem will be on them.
Sure.
So that's the issue. I don't want any trouble already.
Well, I mean, we're very conscious of that. We're conscious of the fact that we...
And then also because we live here, so we are trying to be very measured, that you should capture the essence of it, but we are not going too deep into it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can take you to so many places.
नाम क्या है? दोनों एहसान.
Same name.
So you said that there's 700,000 forces on the ground here. That's in the entirety of Kashmir?
It is Kashmir Valley only.
Just Kashmir Valley, which is obviously where Srinagar is and we are now.
It is the South Kashmir,
Yeah.
4 districts of South Kashmir, 3 districts of North, and 3 districts of Central Kashmir, roughly 10 districts.
And what's the civilian population of Kashmir Valley?
According to the census of 2011, because last decadal census has not been taken, so it was 7 million, 70 lakh, I think. 70 lakh.
Yeah.
700,000, but now our estimates with decadal growth, it is now roughly 8.5 million in the Kashmir Valley.
Okay, civilians. But you have 700,000 military.
Only Indian Army. But if you take then the paramilitary and plus the Jammu Kashmir Police, then it is like 1 million.
So you have 1 for every 8 civilians approximately.
It was 1 to 6. It's now, you can say 1 to 6 or 7. Yeah. So roughly 15,000 Kashmiris are right now in jail. So that affects 15,000 families, because most of the time these are the people who are actually the sole bread earners in the family.
There's a presumption that you're guilty, and then in the trial you need to prove your innocence. The presumption is guilty. So what do you do there in that scenario? The presumption is guilty. Okay, give me a chance. Give me a trial. But when do you give me a trial being a Kashmiri, when you have already taken 7 or 6 years of my life under the most dreaded laws. I'm not talking about the political aspect of it. All I'm talking about is the legal aspect of it. How do you misuse the laws? And why do you have to have the laws in the first place if you call it the integration of a state, integration of the people? Why do you need to have so many laws which haunt an entire population? Now you have the presumption of guilt. How do you prove your innocence? To prove that innocence, you have to be in the jail for 10 years, 12 years. Because nobody deems you innocent, you're deemed guilty. And somehow, if by luck you set free, then you have the trauma. Because in every day, these cases come to us, these cases come to the courts. So a person whose entire family is languishing in the jail and such person is clueless about what has happened. You can't own the people by threatening them to put them in jail. So once you're not doing that, all the machinery of the state and its very existence goes down the drain. That's what I would say.
Where's Makan Sada? He is the father of that militant. They claim security forces that time. They are active militants in Kashmir. Their houses will be blazed down. Okay. So that is the punishment.
So they blasted the houses of these 14 militants? 10.
After that, some hue and cry happened in the international media and they stopped.
Because of the international attention.
There are only 4 were left. Now 10 militants' houses were burned down. He says he was missing. We don't know whether he was killed at the first day, whether he was killed later after 2 years. He has never seen his son in between 2 years, since the day of missing. And after 2 years, they claimed we have killed his son. He says for last 2 years, we have never seen him, we have never met him, he has never came to our house, he has never contacted his family. And when the encounter happened, first at the initial stage he was not known his son is in the encounter. The concerned police called his son, your brother was killed, have you heard about the encounter? So later they were taken to the Srinagar police control room to identify your son, whether he is your son or not. But he has identified him through some his facial feature or almost he is his son. So he has identified him through these fingers and this because body was fully disfigured and mutilated. Then they buried his body in the northern end of the Bangas Valley.
You didn't get to bring the body home?
No, they didn't. This is the tale of every Kashmir.
We have lost the sense and the track of justice. Because the injustice, because the violence, because the turmoil has taken over all of us so much.
If Kashmir were to secede and become its own independent state, how would that actually work geopolitically? Do you think that Pakistan, Kashmir, and India could peacefully coexist?
Of course, why not? If by the idea of the two nations, India and Pakistan, Kashmiris can so peacefully exist in this turmoil, why do we think that we cannot exist in peace, in freedom? When you have that, ability to withstand a conflict and to live very peacefully, very decently in a conflict, why on earth would somebody tell you that you will not be living happily in peace? If we are allowed to live in the conflict, then give them a chance to live in peace.
आपने बाइट ले ली मेरा फोटोग्राफ भी ले लिया तो मैंने बता दिया ये है तो जैसे आपने ऑन कर दिया टीवी में आ गया तो तुरंत हार्डली आपने 1 घंटा पहले दिया होगा 3 घंटे बाद मेरी उठा लो तो
बाप रे
ये वो चीज़ है तो इसकी वजह से आपको कोई नहीं बता देगा हाँ इस तरह बता देगा ऑन द कैमरा कोई नहीं आएगा कैमरा में कोई नहीं आएगा
How much for a shisha?
A very special price. Nowadays we are here, I mean, no much business. So for you, 800 only.
Why not much business?
Because it's because of the Pahalgam, you know.
Yeah.
So now I'm empty here. Nobody, less customer.
I don't smoke shisha, unfortunately.
This is, shisha is herbal. It is totally different. It is very nice. You will enjoy, honestly.
Yeah.
You can try one.
But I'm already getting high off the beauty of Kashmir.
Yeah, this is true, sir. You from?
I'm from Australia.
Australia.
Nice to meet you.
You got there nice opal.
Yeah. What's your name?
My name Ash.
Yeah.
What's up, man? This is famous barbecue.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. This is famous barbecue and included walnut chutneys.
Walnut
Three
chutney?
varieties of walnut chutneys. This is nice place. Like heaven. Yeah. Okay, enjoy.
कश्मीर की ज़िंदगी तो फिलहाल मेरे हिसाब से जो 2014 से के बाद जो फ्लड आया था ना यहाँ पे, उसके बाद तो बहुत डेवलप हो गया यहाँ पे कश्मीर, बहुत डेवलप हो गया, बहुत चेंजेस आ गई उसके बाद, टेक्नोलॉजी में चेंज आ गया, कम्युनिकेशन में चेंज आ गया, बहुत सारा चेंज आ गया, तो हमको फ़ायदा ही हुआ उससे। अत्याचार तो हुआ आज से मतलब बहुत साल पहले, मैंने सुना है खुद, तो मतलब देखा नहीं है मैंने, जो कि यहाँ पे सबसे बड़ा इंसिडेंट हो गया था वो कुनन पोशपुरा के बारे में आपने सुना होगा, वो जो 2 बहनों का रेप किया गया था यहाँ पे, वो आर्मी वालों ने किया, वो पूरा गांव अभी भी रो रहा है उस टाइम से अभी तक। एक छोटा सा बच्चा गाड़ी में बीमार था तो कॉन्वे आ रही थी, तो उसको बिल्कुल भी नहीं छोड़ा उन लोगों ने, बिल्कुल मारपीट हो गई उस वीडियो में, तो ये बड़ा मसला यहाँ पे है।
इतना क्यों किया उन्होंने?
वो जो कॉन्वे आती है ना गाड़ियाँ, वो उस टाइम पे तो किसी को छोड़ते ही नहीं है, चाहे कोई भी हो।
So we're out here on Dal Lake. We just had a gorgeous boat ride, as is common to do on Dal Lake. As you can see, it's absolutely magnificent views. But what we also came here to do was just to chat to local people. We've spent 48 hours here now, and you know, we feel like we've got one very strong side. I'm not saying that that side is right or wrong. We've seen, frankly, enough evidence to indicate that it's probably accurate. But we just wanted to really try and do some corroboration and talk to local people in a more informal way. So I just really want to stress that the interviews you are seeing are the ones that we've been able to secure because we've either been surreptitious in how we filmed it, or the interviewee's been very brave, or we've just gone to painstaking efforts logistically to get those interviews. You don't see the scores of interviews that we could be getting if things were different here, if the situation was different and people didn't feel silenced or weren't self-censoring themselves. For example, I just spoke to a very intelligent and optimistic young Kashmiri. He's a humanities student. I asked him if I could just interview him, not even on anything politically sensitive, just about Kashmir in general, and he couldn't. He said, I can't. Otherwise, they'll come for me. They'll surveil me. They'll spy on me. He said, I have a future to build. I have a family to look after. And really, that's been a turning point for me in this journey. When you just see, I think, totally innocent, measured people that aren't by any stretch radicals, just living in pure fear and unable to talk and just unable to express a view that's slightly critical of what's happening out, you know that there's something not right. And that's really important. And I do also want to add, we have been able to talk to a few people who spoke more even-handedly or even positively about things here. But I will say that afterwards, once the camera cut, they then felt a lot more comfortable to be critical. And I feel like the truth actually came out when it was off camera. And I will say as well that it seems to me that those that are speaking more positively are doing so because they have a vested interest in the tourism industry here. Now that's completely reasonable for them to promote their state and to try and paint it in a favorable light. I get that. And I recommend people do come here for the tourism. It's absolutely gorgeous. But just because you have a vested interest in the tourism, it doesn't mean that there aren't terrible things happening.
Poetry came very handy. This was very cathartic, and they felt that if not through the regular means, their only way to claim power, to have any kind of power, would be through poetry only. So yes, poetry has been a very integral part of reclaiming Kashmiri identity across ages. Even if I am at a very peaceful place anywhere in the world and suddenly I hear a firecracker, my natural instinct and my natural response would be, it must be a misfire or firing somewhere. That is how I have come to be. I have lived that way. Dam phuch gamats miyan nazar youth matsar kya. Dam phuch gamats miyan nazar youth matsar kya. Miro lebit lol shahar youth matsar kya. Puzai karan ٲس گٔمٕژ وٲنٛس مےٚ ژھایَن. پوٗزاے کران ٲس گٔمٕژ وٲنٛس مےٚ ژھایَن.
So, what have you observed over the last 32 years?
I must say that was a bad day. I must say, man.
It's been bad days.
Very bad day for us. I've seen a lot of things from that particular decade. I've seen some crackdowns. I've seen some sort of firings or sort of like crackdowns, sort of molestations all over from this Indian Army. Have you realized that? You have seen any military personnel in this state or in this any other state?
I haven't seen military personnel at this level in other states.
That's why it's Kashmir. It's
You, like the young boys were
young boys were picked up by army personnel, and they were taught, so they were interrogated. Tell us where are militants? And I was one of them.
You were a victim?
Yeah.
You were picked up?
Yeah.
What were you?
I was not knowing about anything about the militancy and like that.
So you weren't working with the militants? You were not a militant?
No.
But you were picked up?
This is true.
Under suspicion.
Under suspicion.
And like this is without any evidence.
No.
Oh God.
Clarification on why you needed my ID.
ये थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज हो रहा है कि इतना आईडी वगैरह क्यों हुआ
क्योंकि इसका मामला है ना, ये कोई बात नहीं है, ऐसी नहीं है, टेंशन की बात नहीं है।
ऐसे करते हो
हम यहाँ आप जहाँ जाओगे ना जियारत में, आपको वहाँ पूछेंगे पुलिस, आईडी देनी पड़ेगी बस।
लेकिन उनको कैसे पता चला मैं यहाँ पे?
यहाँ कैमरा लगे हुए इधर सब 24 कैमरे 25 कैमरे
25 कैमरे हैं।
और क्या?
मतलब कोई हमारे आने से कोई तकलीफ है? कोई
नहीं है, आप मेहमान हैं तो
आप मेहमान हो, बस उनको जानना है, जानकारी
सेफ्टी के लिए सब कुछ होता है, जानना के लिए आप कहाँ से ऐसी बात नहीं है, घबराने की बात नहीं,
केसेस है बहुत सारे आए थाउजेंड्स में। अगर हम एज पर रिकॉर्ड देखेंगे जो AK-47 यहाँ पे या कुछ आज़ादी वो चीज़ें हैं, या क्रीसेंट हम देखेंगे वो अपने हाथों पे बनाते थे ओल्ड एजर्स में, वो चीज़ें देखे जाते हैं। और जो AK-47 इसमें तो जो रीज़न है वो सिक्योरिटी पर्पज़ है, तो इसलिए वो जो रिमूव करते हैं। हाल ही में अगर हम देखेंगे कुछ टाइम पहले जिन्होंने AK-47 बनाए थे, तो कुछ आर्मीज़ या कुछ पुलिस की वजह से उनको जो थ्रेट मिली थी, तो उसकी वजह से उन्होंने वो जो अपने आर्म पे या नेक पे बनाया था वो हटाया।
The mental health issues, they have been on rise since last 3 decades, particularly after all the unrest here, political turmoil, political unrest. The cases which have been risen, they are mainly like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of patients are here who have had some or one or two incidences during that turmoil, and they still get those nightmares, they still get anxieties about that. A lot of youngsters, they come to us with these mood instabilities and self-harming tendencies, suicidal gestures. So you have to be very vigilant and very patient with them. They cannot be kept alone. They have to be under vigilance all the time. And another one thing which has been on rise is the substance use disorder, which was not there before, and the trend is changing. Like if we talk about substance, earlier it was like cannabis was on rise, but now hardcore substance like heroin.
Does the long-term exposure to the presence of military, curfews, surveillance,
Yes.
does that affect an individual differently to just a single one-time traumatic event?
Yes, yes. I'd like to mention that chronic stress, chronic exposure to some trauma, it affects your brain wiring, I could say. It affects your brain development. There is personality change can even occur there due to exposure to chronic trauma. So overall, yes, I can say that there has been a lot going on through the people, and it has changed their personalities, it has changed their perception about things around, and it is still affecting them.
कहते हैं समेटना बहुत मुश्किल है, समेटना बहुत मुश्किल है।
हमारे साथ भी वही हो रहा है अभी, सोचा जाए तो इतनी ज्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रही है हमको हर जगह से, हमें समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या सच है क्या समेटे।
वही है ना, क्या सच है क्या झूठ है। यहाँ पर अभी आपको मैं कहता हूँ ना, एक जो इंसान चलता रहेगा ना, उसकी सूरत आप देखोगे ये हंस रहा है, लेकिन जो अंदर फीलिंग है ना वो दुखी है।
So this morning we've travelled about 100 kilometres west from the summer capital of Srinagar, and we're visiting small villages that are right on the LOC, or the line of control. Just over there is the Pakistan administered part of Kashmir. So this is an area that unfortunately experiences a lot of trauma, a lot of shelling whenever there is an escalation between India and Pakistan. There's an old saying that when two elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. And whenever these two nuclear powers, India and Pakistan, have flare-ups, the consequences for the civilian population are most pronounced in Kashmir, and none more so than these small villages. So we are talking today to family members that have split families, divided, some on the Pakistan side, some on the Indian side, and we're really trying to understand what it's like to live on the LOC.
Otherwise, after the flare-up, all the Pakistani nationals were asked to leave. So she's from the other side, basically.
Okay. Is it difficult to get those LTVs?
It is difficult, but she must have been here for a long time. We'll ask her.
Okay.
लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के नज़दीक रहते हैं आप?
जी जी, यहाँ गोचर वाली में
बार ये हुआ था तो उस वक्त डर का माहौल था, जब
माहौल था, लेकिन परेशानी नहीं हुई क्योंकि वेरिफिकेशन की पुलिस भी आई, फिर आर्मी की थ्रू वेरिफिकेशन वगैरह हुई, फिर उन्होंने मुझे जाने के लिए नहीं बोला।
अच्छा, नहीं मतलब उस वक्त जो माहौल था, डर का माहौल था, उस
वो तो जाहिर से टेंशन तो होती है, इंसान टेंशन थी, सबको निकाल रहे हैं तो शायद हमें भी निकाल, टेंशन रही है, लेकिन ये कि अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि कोई परेशानी नहीं हुई।
तो आप खुश हैं यहाँ?
अल्लाह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
अच्छा, मुझे ये बताएं कि जो मुजफ्फराबाद में आपके बाकी रिश्तेदार हैं, आपकी बहनें हैं, चार?
जी जी, तीन बहनें, एक भाई, अम्मी अबू।
तो उनकी याद तो आती होगी?
जाहिर सी बात, याद तो आती है।
तो कब जाएंगे आप? इसके बाद कब जाना चाहते हैं आप?
इसके बाद थोड़े बच्चे थोड़े समझदार हो जाएं तो फिर जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह मुलाकात के लिए।
देखो हम तो क्या चाहते हैं, देखो हमारा तो यही इनिशिएटिव है कि हम चाहते हैं कि देखो हम अपना काम करें, अपना रोज़गार हमें चलता रहे, हमें किसी के साथ कोई मतलब नहीं, हम अपने इंडिया के साथ खुश हैं, हम यहाँ रहते हैं आराम से, हम 15 अगस्त मनाते हैं, हम 26 जनवरी मनाते हैं, ठीक है,
मैं खुद 15 अगस्त मनाती हूँ,
हम मनाते हैं, हमारे बच्चे जाते हैं, इवेंट्स करते हैं स्कूल्स में, लेकिन फिर कश्मीरियों को बोला जाता है मुड़ के फिर से आप गलत हो, आप देशद्रोही हो। वो तो अच्छी चीज़ नहीं है ना।
Behind me is the Jhelum River, which is one of the rivers subject to the Indus Water Treaty, signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan and brokered by the World Bank. This Indus Water Treaty has survived all of the wars and escalations since its signing in 1960. However, in the most recent escalation after the Pahalgam attacks, the treaty was put in abeyance by India. Now, how this is significant is that Pakistan has officially said that if the water is to stop flowing into Pakistan, if India is to withhold that water and divert it south to its own territories, Pakistan would consider that an act of war and reasonable grounds upon which they would enter another conflict with India. And that's why a lot of people in Kashmir believe that the next war between these two nuclear powers will be a water war.
मुर्शीद साहब, आप पेशे से मजदूर हैं सर। अच्छा, तो ये शेल मई में लगा था जब इंडिया पाकिस्तान के दरमियान?
जी जी, मई में शेलिंग तो उसी टाइम दौरान हुई थी। ये 3 लगे हैं सर।
कितना नुकसान हुआ था?
तकरीबन सर लगभग 7 लाख रुपए का नुकसान है, 7-8 लाख रुपए का नुकसान।
तो जो गवर्नमेंट ने हेल्प की,
गवर्नमेंट ने 3.5 लाख रुपए, 1,30,000 यहाँ की सेंट्रल यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट ने दिया और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने 2 लाख दिया।
तो उससे अभी पूरा आपका
आप देख सकते हो, आप खुद ही देख सकते हो यहाँ पड़े हैं। आज तो अगर बाथरूम बनाएगा इंसान उसको 5-6 लाख रुपया लगता है। ये तो मकान फिर बनाना है,
आपको 10-12 लाख चाहिए और ताकि आप
मकान बना सकें सर। आप देख सकते हो सर, अभी भी शाल निकल रहे हैं मेरे घर से।
तो किस तरह का खौफ का माहौल था जब ये सब?
सर ये मत पूछो कि अपने आप समझ लो कि मौत हमारे सर पे थी, कभी भी कुछ भी हो सकता था।
मौत आपके सर पे थी और उस वक्त जब शेल गिरा आप कहाँ गए?
वहाँ छुपे थे सर, वो उस जगह में छुपे थे।
आप वहाँ छुप गए? जी सर। यहाँ कोई बंकर नहीं है?
ना, बैंकर कोई नहीं है सर। अभी तो गवर्नमेंट ने स्कीम निकाली थी, कुछ बोला 5 मरले जमीन दे दो, हमारे पास तो जमीन है नहीं है। वो भी अब बात ही खाई गवर्नमेंट ने कि वो बैंकर शंकर कुछ नहीं। अभी भी सर डर के जी रहे। आर्मी में अलार्म बजते तो इंसान डर जाता है, बच्चों को साइड कर लेता है।
साइरन बज जाता है।
हाँ, वो तो डर नहीं है, डरना तो है सर।
डर का माहौल अभी भी
है सर, वो डरते तो अभी भी है लोग।
This family has actually kept the leftover fragments of the Pakistani artillery shell that was a direct hit on their home. You can see those here.
ये देखो यहाँ से, ये सर अंदर भी लगे हैं, ये देखो ये अंदर लगे निशान, ये अभी तक हमने सामान नहीं निकाला।
They just like attacked it last night, but because of the shootings, all this area got destroyed, even the floor.
Okay. I've been told that upstairs is fully destroyed, so we're going to go take a look. And what you can actually see up there, those are the hills of Pakistan, I'm told, and that's where the artillery shells are fired from. And this house experienced a direct hit, and this is the damage. Look, I'm no weapons expert, but I just think it's really important to make the point that the artillery shell that's been fired, whether it burst in the air or it burst on impact, it burst and it became extremely destructive, and you can see all the shrapnel holes around me on the roof and the walls. You can see what it's done here, what it's done to this washing machine. So you can imagine, as a human, if you were here, how potentially it would be fatal, or at the very least seriously maim you. Yeah, for anyone who's never been in a war zone like myself, this is quite eye-opening.
सर बहुत डर है, ये बच्चे शूज़ लगा कर सोते हैं, सॉक्स लगा कर ही सोते हैं, बहुत डर गए, चैन से सोते भी नहीं है यहाँ पे, बड़े भी और बूढ़े भी छोटे भी सब सर। और डर तो बहुत है, दिल में अभी भी डर है सर, गोलो बारूद का ये पड़ेंगे, रात किस टाइम भागना पड़ेगा सर, किस टाइम नहीं, मौत कब आएगी कब नहीं, ये तो खुदा को पता है सर, बहुत बहुत डर है।
Kashmir is the fraying rope in a vicious geopolitical tug of war shaped by decades of unresolved history. In this episode, I've endeavoured to be a witness to the situation without an agenda. I came with an open mind and honest questions, nothing more. To those of you who claim that I only presented one side of the issue, I would ask you to contemplate why it is that I didn't investigate or interact with the other side. I really wanted to talk to Indian authorities and military personnel, but to do so probably would have left me without a camera, an SD card, or even a visa. That surely tells you a lot about the other side. The very fact that this episode will also be published 6 weeks after the conclusion of filming and once I've fully left the country also tells you how the fear in Kashmir is now something I feel in a very small way.